Book 3 Afterword. Hello, this is Roy, writer of By the Grace of the Gods. Thank you for purchasing Volume 3. I've gotten 3 books published now, and there's even a manga version of my story running at the same time. To my surprise, I've even been getting fan letters lately. I know this doesn't reflect well on me as a writer, but I can't find the words to express how happy I am. Honestly, I never thought I'd get fan letters. I'm sure many of you know this, but By the Grace of the Gods was originally published on Hina Project's website, Shosutsuka Ninaro. I still use my account there. The site has many functions that can be used for free, including a means of sending messages and posting impressions directly, so I only expected people to do that, and there are plenty of comments that I appreciate. But some people are even taking the time to write a letter and pay the postage cost to send it. That gives me a whole new level of happiness. It warms my heart. Of course, I'm glad to receive messages on the site as well, but physical letters certainly feel a bit different. Thank you so much for all your support, everyone. I'll keep writing the best story I can, so I hope you'll continue to support me in the future. Bonus short stories. Serge and the twins, you may use this room for a while. Your luggage will be brought to you. Thank you. After Bamboo Forest's opening party came to an end, the invitees left by foot or carriage. The twins had only just arrived in Gimel and had no home as of yet, so Serge led them to a guest room. Before he left, he asked them a question. How does this store look? What do you think about the boss? To be honest, I would say they're odd. Both the store and its owner, Carla, responded. It's a fine store, it seems like it will be simple enough to run, and the food is delicious. There's something unique about it all. That includes the manager. I get that. When I was first introduced to him, I thought the same thing. I still feel the same way now. Just who is he? He seems to be on good terms with the Duke's family and many high-ranking adventurers, but he said he wasn't a noble. Judging from his conversations, he's fairly educated. Is he the son of some affluent merchant? I met him through an introduction from the Duke's family. His grandmother was an intellectual with a love of education, apparently, but he seemed to have lived a difficult life. Ever since his grandparents passed away 3 years ago, he became frustrated with people and hid away deep in a forest. When the twins heard that, they were surprised and dubious. He did look out misanthropic to me. I agree with Carla. He seemed very sociable, if anything. I don't understand it either. Maybe his wounded heart has healed, or maybe he got tired of a life of solitude. In any case, I want you to watch him closely. Serge paused for a moment. But that doesn't mean I want you to investigate him. There's no need to leak any information you learned through working with him, nor do you need to take any action to benefit my company. I'd only ask that you assist him. He can even do things that would be advantageous to my company, as long as it's legal and helpful for his business. Are you sure? The twins asked in unison. It's hard to keep a business going without getting dirty sometimes. Remember to always work with him in good faith. In his case, I think accommodating his passions would be ideal, Serge said and told the twins everything he knew. He isn't concerned with money or fame. Then, he only decided to start a business after someone else suggested it to him. After the guild master first met him, she said that he seemed like he might up and leave at any moment, but I want him to stay in this city. That's partially at the request of the Duke's family, but I also have some personal interest in the boy. Staying on good terms with him could lead to profit down the line, of course. I'm sure you recognize that, Serge said. The twins didn't hesitate to nod. I did say he was odd, but if he has a unique perspective, then I'm sure there's plenty to learn from him, Carla answered. And from what I saw at the party, he has incredible knowledge and great connections. Knowledge and connections are the lifeblood of a merchant, Carm added. Serge was satisfied by their responses. He at least knows he's an amateur when it comes to business, and he's been happy to ask for my input on plenty of occasions. Just tell him if any of his suggestions have issues, and he should understand. In the event that he ignores your advice and his business declines, I promise that my company will hire you again. Don't worry about the future, just work for him earnestly and see what there is to be learned. Thank you for giving us this opportunity, the twins said. With renewed determination, they began work at Ryoma's store the following day. The reality of research jobs. What was the monster research lab like? Jane asked the 3EX researchers one day after work, when all the employees were chatting over dinner. Oh, are you interested in research? Or just monsters? Both. I'm not that smart, though. So I'm really fascinated by scientists. Ahaha. Well, don't get too excited. I think we'll disappoint you, but ask whatever you like. Thanks. Cock and Tony and Lobelia sat with the fascinated girl. But where should we start? Can you tell me how you become a researcher? That's simple. You just need to be employed by a research facility. They hire sometimes, and if you have a teacher, they can offer a recommendation. You can also personally visit a laboratory and negotiate for them to recruit you. They'll usually have some conditions for new applicants. For example, the Royal Monster Laboratory that I used to work at only hired people who earned high enough grades from an academy in the capital. You also have to pass a test on monster studies. Then go through an interview process. Once you're hired, you'll usually be assigned to some laboratory somewhere and start as an assistant to a more experienced researcher. When Maria heard these answers, she had her own question to ask. What do you do if you're not part of a laboratory? You and the boss aren't associated with any labs, are you? You're a sharp one. We still do research, but we aren't officially recognized as researchers. We're treated as self-proclaimed researchers, so to speak. If we wanted to present the results of our research, we would have to personally submit a thesis to a research facility or have it judged by several different guilds. Our work is almost never viewed favorably, though, Calkin said, and the 3X researchers' expressions clouded. Why is that? They have a lot of pride. In a bad way. You see, research tends to cost money. Research facilities dump tons of money into paying for workers and materials. You don't want researchers from outside your facility to get results, because that may mean losing funding to someone else. And if those results come from a researcher affiliated with no laboratory, it puts the laboratories in a bad light. They'll always be pressured to meticulously look for flaws in our work. They have powerful people in charge. So researchers with no laboratory don't have any opportunities for success? Jane asked. When she heard about the reality of research jobs, she frowned over how unfair it sounded. When you publicize your results, it's always possible that a research facility will seek to recruit you. But like any organization, laboratories have hierarchies and factions, so joining a laboratory doesn't necessarily mean upward mobility. In fact, the struggle only gets worse from there. You'll still get the same meticulous criticism and pressure as before, and any objections are considered complaints about the boss. Low-level employees can't point out mistakes without earning someone's ire. The boss may also pass off your research as their own. Everyone's always trying to get in everyone else's way too. They even say that you need to be part of a faction to get anywhere as a researcher. You either need connections with powerful people, or the political talent to navigate those tumultuous seas. Your research itself is the second or third priority. That's the truth about low-level researchers. Maybe it's different if you manage to advance through the ranks, but we couldn't tell you about that, Calkin said self-derisively, then laughed. Nowadays, I question why I was ever so obsessed with that place. I was able to get food and a home here. I can earn enough to fund my research too. I don't even have to waste my free time on meaningless power struggles. I feel that That place was suffocating. This new job is relaxing by comparison, and the boss actually listens to us. I can focus on my research much more here than I did there. It's kind of strange. The three researchers agreed and laughed, enjoying the food and conversation. The day ended peacefully. Behind the scenes of the second set of hires, "You're the girls who came from Weizen?" "Yes," the three young girls shouted. They were in a room at the Merchants Guild, gathered before the guildmaster. The girls were working for their living expenses while they studied and searched for more permanent jobs when they were abruptly summoned by the guildmaster herself. They couldn't hide their distress, but they tried to act natural. "I'm not going to scold you or anything, calm down." "I see," Tina said with a sigh of relief. "I'll give you the full details when one more person arrives, but I wanted to talk about a job. The manager of a store is looking for some new hires." "Sorry, but you'll have to wait a bit longer." "Hey, Fina. Is the guildmaster supposed to do this stuff personally? Normally it would be handled by the appropriate department. But this manager happens to be someone I know," the guildmaster answered when she heard Jane whisper. "Oh, thank you, Jane." After the guildmaster responded, she started to silently stare at the girl's face. What is it? You seem all right. You look loyal, and I think you'd have some fine intuition." "Intuition, yeah? You're not that smart, Jane, but you have better intuition than anyone." Maria, the last of the girls, interjected to agree with the guildmaster's impressions, making her two friends freeze up. "Haha, now this girl's a bold one," Glycella laughed. "Excuse me, Chelma," the chef said as she entered the tense room. They were then given the full details, and all four of them decided to work at Ryoma's store. "Then I'll need to have you go through the rest of the formalities with the manager." Jane, Fina. "Yes, Jane, you're best off following your feelings, and Fina, you prefer to use your head." Maria's the sort who can keep her composure in any situation. New workplaces bring new struggles, so make use of your strengths to help each other through it. "Okay," they said. "You help them too, Chelma. These girls have never worked in the city before." "Understood. It's almost like I've gotten myself some daughters." After that exchange, they met with their new employer.